back to Alviso. This is Timmy from SJBC, and this clip was taken on the week of Thanksgiving. So as you can see, there's a lot of riders and a great turnout today. I'd say anywhere from 30 to 40 people. And to my right here is my teammate Leroy in the red Specialized jersey. He is also from SJBC and a really great lead out and breakaway guy. Basically, what I'm doing here with him on the opening laps is that we're going to discuss a little bit of team tactics. So the big teams represented today is going to be Team Franco, Thirsty Bear, and Cortex. They have a lot of guys in this field. So what SJBC is going to do is that we are going to let them chase down any attacks or any moves that get away. And then we'll just sit back, pick up the scraps, and capitalize on any opportunities that do come our way. So I just wanted to take this moment to clarify how confusing it can be to recognize different teams at Alviso for any new viewers or newcomers to the race. So on my right hand side, that's Team Franco. They are the ones that have a lot of numbers in this field today. Light blue shorts and light blue jerseys. So if anything gets away, I'm going to let them shoulder the burden of chasing it down. And yeah, you can see that we're doing 33 miles an hour in the tailwind, but it's not really hurting me too much. My watts fluctuate between 200 and maybe 400 to 500 on a surge. But yeah, we're still at 33 miles. I'm barely doing any watts, and if I really wanted to, I could move up to the side. But the right hand's preoccupied and the left hand is kind of exposed. So we'll just keep it as is and just maintain the same speed. So a common theme of any bike race is that it gets pretty surgy at some points during the race. So as you can see there, the rider in front of me did a little sprint just to hook onto the wheel in front of him. And I like to think of it similar to chess. So the key here is to tire your opponents out and let them do more work than they need to. And from there, I just used his toe in the draft to slingshot around him while still being seated, and just like that, I'm at the front. A little bit fun fact about myself is that I'm a pretty small rider. I measure at 5'6" and I weigh under 130 pounds, I would say. So I'm going to make it really hard for the guys behind me to get into my draft by not only tucking myself low to my bars, but also guttering them all the way to the right hand side. So my hope here is that I can provide a tempo that is decent enough for the guys behind me to stay somewhat satisfied, but not at the same time not getting a free ride off of my draft and ending up attacking me while I'm at the very front and breaking away. So I trade my pools here, no one takes an attack. Good, I think my job is done. I slide right back to the top 1/3 of the pack. And to my surprise, we have Dave, Jerome, and Nick who are coming up fast on my left. And these guys, not only are they tall, but they can hold their own in a breakaway. So I'm definitely going to try to slot behind their wheels. And you can see already on the shadows, I'm side by side with another guy. But what I'm trying to do here is that if they do launch an attack, at least I'll be in prime position to respond if needed. And of course, it gets surgy in this corner, but I'm not going to get out of my saddle. I'm just going to slowly reel it back in because I know it's going to slow down. So you're going to see Leroy here in a bit. He's wearing the red jersey. He's going to launch a really hard attack on the left-hand side, and the pack does not respond to it. So right around there, I communicate to Zach that it's just me and Leroy today in the field. So this leads me into my next point, and that is that I'm a firm believer that communication is key in terms of any sort of team strategy or team tactics within a race, because the race is always constantly changing. So you might have noticed that Zach is currently wearing the Alviso Champions jersey from last week, and this was thanks to the fact that Leroy and myself were able to pull him to the line with a very strong lead-out train in a stormy episode of Alviso. And it all happened during the course of the race. I was tired and had just enough for one hard surge, and the same can be said for Leroy, but I know that Zach is a great sprinter and he has a huge fuel tank in him. So that's the beauty of teamwork. If you can effectively communicate your fitness and notify your teammates on what's going on in the race, You can often tailor suit your abilities to the ever-changing dynamics of the race. Fast forward a little bit, and I believe 5 other guys jumped on the break with Leroy up at the front, and near the front of the pack right here, a little train starts to form. So something interesting happens here in this small little train that we formed. Donald, who's wearing the red jersey at the front, I don't know if he actually has a teammate in the break, but it looks like he's working pretty hard to pull that break back, and behind him in tow is a TT champion. However, it looks like everyone's getting desperate to bring that break back, and attacks are flying off. But I know that it's none of my obligation to pull my own teammate back, so I'm just going to do what I can and just stay near the front to follow these moves. And oh, a car pulls in front of us, ruining that initial move. So, but anyways, right here I'm gonna slow down a little bit, just go a little bit neutral, so the guys behind me can hook onto my wheel. I'm also looking back, just to make sure everything is okay and safe. So yeah, I'll let the guys hook onto my wheel, and what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna set a false tempo. I'm going to give them the impression that I'm determined to bring this break back. But in reality, I'm going to start hard and then slowly decrease my speed so that the guys in the breakaway can get away and I can appear like I'm doing some work up front. But in reality, it's just slowing down and I'm swinging off to the right at the same time. So 2 guys try to attack right after I take my pull, and without hesitation, Zach follows in his own little attack. So right here, riders are desperate to hook onto Zach and try to pull whatever move is happening up front back, but I can't have any of that. So I'm going to stay on high alert and follow any wheels that do come my way and put in multiple dig efforts right here just to string things back together. Nevertheless, any attacks that tried to get away were just quickly brought back. Right here I'm just going to use a little bit of power to get myself right next to Zach and tell him, hey Zach, we got Leroy in the breakaway, we got 1 guy up there. Zach acknowledges that, and to confirm, there's 3 laps to go. We are both in the know that our teammate is up front. So it was at this point in the race that things were really looking good for us, and we were just playing to our strengths to see if that break actually gets away or fails. So what you just heard there was some funny banter between me and Donald. I think Nick, who's Donald's teammate up at the front from Pinarello, he's trying to work pretty hard to bring the break back because they don't have team representation up there. So yeah, I'm just not gonna do anything. I'm gonna let these guys ride their hearts out. Alright, so unfortunately the break got shattered apart and Leroy is on the left hand side of my screen right here. I tell him to slot in quickly just so that he can be some of help if needed again. And right now it looks like it's going to be coming down to a field sprint. Every single guy in the breakaway just got brought back over here. And I'm mentally preparing myself for the series of attacks that are going to fly from up front and behind me right now. But none of the attacks nor the counterattacks work, and the field slows down again right here. And approaching 2 to go. Any attack now is probably futile. It's not going to work out. It's just too late. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to target Jerome here. I'm going to put a huge target on his back. I'm going to try to hold onto his wheel as best as possible. And it looks like the 2 guys in front of me already have the same idea. So elbows are flying, trying to assert their position for that sprinter's wheel. And I'm just trying to bide my time and hopefully not lose any more positions from in front of me. But overall, very classy riding from both of these riders. They kept it upright and kept the speed high. And I just want to clarify that we all respect one another here at Alviso. We know each other pretty closely and we have a good sense of trust. So there's no hard feelings when stuff like this happens. We're okay with some contact, but we're definitely not okay with sketchy lateral movements.
You got Leroy up here somehow. I'll see what I can do. I kind of want to go for this one too. Alright.
And right here is another great example of team communication. I let Zach know that I have enough in my legs to go for the sprint. So I give him that heads up. So now we have two chances to contest the sprint. If Zach is able to get into prime position, I'll let him have it. And if I get into prime position, I'll take it. It comes back to being both expendable teammates. We both have the power output needed to win a sprint. But right now we're just looking for our lead out guy, Leroy, to see if he has any power left to move up the field. But if not, then either Zach or myself will be doing the lead out. So we're down to 1 to go, and the pace gets pretty fast right here. And surprisingly, it works out. Zach manages to find his way into Jerome's wheel, and I'm trying to slot in behind Zach's wheel, potentially for a lead out. But unfortunately, I have to fight for Zach's wheel because Matthew from Team Swift, who is a junior, he has my teammate's wheel, and I can't have any of that. So some elbows fly right here. I got no hard feelings, but I'm trying to get that prime position. So it looks like we're too far up in the front right now, and one of the Cortex riders, I think, he flies off, and this guy's very capable of holding his own on a breakaway and getting away. So being the strong rider that Zach is, Zach knows his own strengths and capabilities. He chases this down, and he gets drawn out. Meanwhile, I'm still trying to slot into Jerome's rear wheel, and right here I also see Dave thinking about the same thing, but I let him have the rear wheel just because I know that these two can effectively choose the right lines to get to the finish at a fast pace. So tactically, I think this was the best decision to make at the time. So yeah, I just followed this line, this fast line that goes, but unfortunately the pace slows down up front, and right here you're going to see us getting bunched up by the field, who does have a higher speed differential on us. But this speed differential was just too great, and I end up losing one more wheel to Sean right here. But it's okay, we're coming down into the last corner of this race, and our positioning looks pretty good. There's not too many guys up in front, and something interesting here happened. Check this out. So we took that corner pretty fast, everyone was pedaling, but all of a sudden they stopped pedaling and they soft pedal. So I sense this hesitation, and I want to keep the speed high, so I attack, and I attack hard. I see the group in front of me, I'm going to close this gap to them, and I'm going to initiate a 2-part sprint. I'm going to be in my saddle, take a little bit of a breather, sprint into Zach's wheel and around this group, and then hug the left-hand side of the road. So now not only do I have the best line because this road bends to the left, but this group also has to come around me to my right. And I try to hold this power. It's a long sprint stretch, and unfortunately Jerome pips me at the line by like half a length or something like that. And yeah, he timed it really well. If there's anything I learned from that last bit at the end of the race, it's that I definitely got to work on my 15-second max sprint power, because wow, it was a really close one, and I really thought I could have had that. And yeah, despite coming in second, I was all smiles. Congratulations to Jerome on the tight victory, and thank you to everyone who came out to Alviso on this fine Thanksgiving week. Hope to see you in the next one. Had a lot of fun today. Peace.
I faded. No, I faded at the end. Jerome got it by like a line. Bike line. Had it, man. He got it by a bike line. Oh my god. The last one thought you were strong. Oh my god. That was so good. You went hella early. I did. Because everyone else hesitated. Way to take it.